Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Before starting my video, if you didn't subscribe my channel yet, please do, and do not forget to turn on notifications because I'm here every week for you. Alright, now let's continue create our service. Normally we are using our generic services, but in this section let's have a look quickly our user services. We need to have a user list, which is we can use it from our generic repository and remove user. We can use this one as well from generic repository. Actually, we can switch it to the generic, I guess. Let's switch it. All right. So we have edit user, register, and login and logout. So these four method, action method, actually service, we have to create a new service. And let me have a look. All right. Register, basically this is going to be create action. Edit user is update, so we need to override register and create and update methods. And this login and logout is going to fresh new methods. Alright, let's get back our interfaces and classes and let's do some brain works. Okay, I'm going to create any folder. Firstly, I'm going to create my interfaces and classes. Then I'm going to explain you what we are expecting and what we are going to do. Okay, let's create user service. Let's add a class user service here, and let's add another interface. Sorry, not class. Where's the item? New item. IUserService. Perfect. Let's add these generic service and iGeneric service to our new class and interfaces using inheritance. IUserService using inheritance from iGeneric service for our user entity and user list view model, user create view model, and user update view model. Perfect. Now let's go back our user service. I'm going to add our generic service here. Basically, I'm gonna copy my all variables here because they are all same. Perfect. Now we have an error. Let's have a look. It is telling us basically you are using inheritance, but you need to add the parameters comes from your generic services. So just basically put your cursor on user service, control dot, and just generate constructors, blah blah blah. It's telling you a lot of things here, but basically it is going to create what you need exactly. As you can see, we brought our all repositories and mappers comes from our generic services. Let's use vertical design and see everything much more easily. And here, perfect. Basically, the thing we are doing here, we are adding these parameters to our user service and we are sending this parameter to our base class, which is generic services. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to tell you in this section. Let's get back our generic services. As you can see, we used private access modifier for all fields in our generic services. Now I'm going to switch them all protected. So what is the difference? If you remember our access modifier lesson in C# playlist, protected is allows us to use those fields, use those objects in derived object. Now we are able to use our repository and the all mapper sections. Let's make private one of them and see the difference. Let's get back our user service. Let's try to use these repositories. I'm just gonna create random method to show you. As you can see, we have create mapper, item mapper, list mapper, update mapper, but we don't have any repository. This is the problem. If we use protected instead of private, we're able to reach our objects. Comes from our generic service. So we don't need to add one more time for nothing. Let's have a look now. Here we go. Our repository is here. The star is telling us it is coming from your, how can I say, base class. Okay, let's delete those. We're going to continue with protected. All right. Now we're going to implement our IUserService interface. Okay. I implement IUserService because if I add something specific interface to our user service, it is going to be reached from just from this service. Okay. For example, generic service is using from another controller. Also, I'm going to consume these generic services from my user controller, but I'm going to reach this generic service using user service. So in this area, I can add my specific methods to user service. That's why I'm implementing our generic services, then IUserService. All right, let's continue with create item, register method. Okay, let's go IUserService. Let's copy from our generic service. Let's copy this method. If we would like to overload, all we need to do is adding this method here. Let's switch it user update remodel, and let's get back our user service. As you can see, it is telling us you have a different method signature. You need to implement your interface to your class. Let's implement interface. I'm waiting. As you can see, we created a new method here. Let's go our random controller to test it. In this section, we are creating item. It is going to be register. Let's go authenticate and let's add our IUserService. IUserService. Let's use dependency injection. Perfect. Now let's try to call CreateItem method. Comes from user service. Let's open your brackets, and as you can see, we have two overload for this method. The first one comes from generic service, and the second one comes from user service. But I'm going to add really different logics in user service, IUserService. So if someone comes and some other developers comes and use the generic service, it is going to cause to have an error message. So we don't want it. According to solid principles, you have to remove methods causing problems. All right, let's remove this line. Now, instead of overload, we're going to use override. So how can we override a method comes from with interface. Okay, let's get back our generic services. I'm going to define all methods with virtual. You, you should remember our C# lessons. Virtual keywords helps us our methods to be overridden. Okay, I'm gonna override all of them. Nothing is going to be happen for other methods. This is an optional. You can use this method as it is, or you can override it. Okay, now let's come our user service. Now I'm going to delete this signature just for a second. Okay, I'm gonna delete this one as well. Just type here override, and you will see overridable methods here. As you can see, we tag virtual keyword with our methods. Now we're going to override CreateItem. Here we go. Now we are going to override our CreateItem with user create view model. Okay, let's delete this base. We're going to add our logic here. Okay, let's add this signature to our IUserService, because we don't have any signature. Let's have a look. Our controller without signature, probably we're not able to see the method UserService dot create item. Let's open your parentheses. We are seeing the generic service method. Okay, let's delete it. Let's add our signature. Our signature is void create item, blah blah blah. Let's add this here. Perfect. Now we have a warning here. If you are using this method, you need to use new keyword to hide comes from base generic service. Let's add new keyword. Let's go our controllers and let's see the results. Once I use user service, create item, open your parentheses, there is no overload, there is no more generic service. The only accessible methods comes from user service. Perfect. Now we solve the problem. Let's get back our user service. Is there anything should I add here? Let's have a look. Create item, user create item. Perfect. All we need to do is adding our logic here. Alright, first of all, let's fill our view model. Let's open our entity as well. Where is our user entity? Let's copy email and full name, because we're going to use password instead of password hash while we're trying to receive a data from our user. Okay, prop string password and copy. This is going to be confirm. Alright, let's save it and close it. We are done with here. User service. Let's create our logic. First of all, we need to check password is the password equal to password confirm. Obviously, we're going to make the validation using validation rules, but just in case, I'm gonna make a password check, password confirm check in our server side. Bool password check. Alright. Request.password equal request.password confirm. Actually, should I use, okay, if it's true, if it's false, the result is going, actually we don't need to add this section, but I want you to use this type of if else logic to gain experience how they are using, how you're supposed to use them. Okay, normally if you leave just like that, the result is going to be return here. Okay, let's leave it like this. Perfect. If it's false, we're going to return an exception here, and let's type a return just for now because we don't have an exception yet. All right, then if we able to pass this password check, we're going to map our user create model. Yeah, let's have a look here. We need to create mapper, I guess. Let's have a look. Yep, perfect, because we are using create model map. All right, source is user create model, target is user, the source is request. Perfect. We need to assign the result to a user here. So we have a user in our hands. Perfect. All we need to do is assign a password hash for requested password. Okay. Let's before that create a private method to make a hashing mechanism. Private, let's say return value is going to be string. Let me think, is it going to be string? Yeah, the hash is going to be string anyway. Let's say hash maker, and we're going to need a user, and we need a string password. Alright, let's create our variable hashed password. We're going to use password hasher method, actually class. So we would like to use user. Alright, as a variable, I'm going to give user comes from my parameter, and password. Alright, actually that's something, no, so it is my fault. Let's delete it. First of all, we're going to create our object. After we create it, we're going to use hash password method. Then we are going to call our user and password variables. This is my fault. Perfect. So we have a string hash password in our hands. Let's fix this name. Okay, return is going to be hash password. Perfect. Now we're going to use this hash maker method. Let's have a look. Yeah, here. Okay. User dot password hash must be hash maker. It is asking us a user, which is here, and password comes from our request dot password. Perfect. Now we assigned our password hash. Then let me think for a second. We need to add our roles normally. Yeah. But in these circumstances, we didn't create our role yet. All we need to do is create our user just for this section. Once we add our role manager, role service section, we will come back here and add our roles in our registered user. Okay, let's call our repository and create item. We're going to give user, and let me have a look. I think it's all done in this section. Okay, perfect. Let's save it. Let's save it. Let's go back our controller now. Authenticate controller. Okay, this is register section. We already add our user service. Add our user service dot create item. It is it requires a user create view model, so I need to expect a parameter user create view model request. All right, I'm gonna give this request as a parameter to create item. Now our user has been created, and we're going to go back where, of course, login section. Redirect to, oh sorry, redirect to action. Where is our login method? Here we go. It is here. Login. Perfect. If you would like to use a type secure, you can use name of login. All right. The return value is going to be string. Obviously, this is a string and login. Okay. Anything else should I add? Okay, let's add our view model now. Add view. I'm doing slowly and step by step to ensure you are understanding what I'm trying to do here. Okay, let's add our register page. Now I'm going to add some form. I'm waiting my application. Come on, Visual Studio. All right, perfect. Let's add our model, which is going to be user create. Is that user create v model? Let's have a look. Let's go back our controller. User create v model. This is correct. Then what is the problem? Okay, let's save it and close it. Where is our user view? Yeah, here we go. Authenticate, register. Try to add one more time. Perfect. Here we go. Okay. We can add this, by the way, we import section. Let's add it here. Close it. Perfect. Alright, guys. First of all, we need to get an empty method. Now I'm going back our controller. Not you. Okay. I'm going to create the copy of my register with parameterless, and it is returning empty return. It is returning empty view, and it is going to be http get, and this is going to be http post, because this is posting action. Okay. Alright, let's save it and get back our register Cshtml. We have user create remodel. This is a register page. Let's add our form. Why it's not accepting? Really interesting. Sometimes it is being ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to use ASP action. The action method is register. Is that register, right? Let me have a look. Register, yeah. And we don't need to add any controllers. It is going to use authenticate controller automatically. So we need to add inputs. Let's take this input from our previous views. For example, category, create category. Okay, let's copy this section and paste here. Input type text, ASP4 email. Enter your email here. Span for email. Text enter. Okay, let's copy all of them. And we have a full name here. Enter your full name here. And the other one is password. Enter your password here. Text. Let's copy the password. It is going to be password confirm. And confirm your password. Confirm your password. Okay. Let's say register. Let's have a look quickly. Should I add anything else here? Let's save everything and right click on register within browser and let's have a look how it's look like. Internal server error. Perfect. We have error here because we didn't add our user services to our service container. Let's minimize everything. Let's go our extension and let's add our service IUserService user service. Let's close everything. Perfect. Now let's try to run one more time. Where is my view? Authenticate within browser. Alright, let's see the form. Perfect. We have a form here in our hands now. Alright, let's close the app and try to create a user. Where is my register? Perfect. Controller. Perfect. Now I'm going to run the application with debug mode and I'm gonna add debug here and I'm gonna see step by step every detail. Okay, let's go to authenticate register. Here we go. Let's add an email. Alright, password is going to be test. Let's confirm it as a test. Let's click register. Let's go through our method step by step. First of all, we send our request here. As you can see, these are informations. We're going to make a password check. Is it true? True. Perfect. We passed the security check. Now we're going to create our object. I'm going to use F10. As you can see, this is our user. Password hash we didn't assign yet. Okay. Okay, let's F10. Password hash has been created. Let's have a look at our user now. This is email, this is full name, this is password hash. User roles, we didn't add any user role yet. ID, obviously it is going to be 0. This is a new create. F10. Here we go. Continue, continue. Login, because we don't have any login page yet. That's why we having error. Let's close the app. It is working. I'm going to open my MS SQL and I'll show you the record. Let's wait 2 seconds more. Let's connect our server. Go to database. Where is my tutorial? Yeah, tables, user. All right, this is info@asandivarcı.com. This is what we added just now. Perfect, it is working. Let's save everything and close all tabs. Minimize everything. And let's go our controller. I'm gonna make a quick check here. Register has been done. Service, let me have a look. Service. User service has been done. Perfect. Next lesson we can continue with. Let's have a look at other controller. We can continue with login section, but to create our login section, we need to add cookie and authenticate service. Let's do everything step by step. I'm gonna do all of them on next lesson. I'm going to finish now here. I don't want to make it too long because this is a really fragile subject. We need to go step by step and slow by slow. If you learn really on a really good foundation, your future will be much more bright. Believe me, guys. Take care of yourself. See you on next lesson, and do not forget to like the video. If you have any question, drop comment below the video. Take care of yourself. See you on next lesson. Bye bye.